I'm the Adverse Childhood Experiences Project Coordinator in Liverpool, as well as the Deputy Virtual School Head. I'm recording this from Cunard today, so you'll have to forgive the quality of the recording, even though it looks like I'm in a fancy hotel. So the aim of the Adverse Childhood Experiences project is that Liverpool becomes a city that builds protection from and support for adverse childhood experiences, both to prevent them from happening, to support young people who may be impacted by the effects of ACEs, which I'm going to talk to you about today, and to support adults who may be experiencing the impact of their own ACEs. ACEs are stressful experiences that can happen in a child's life. They first became uncovered following a study done by Dr. Felitti in around about 1998, when he was looking at an obesity clinic. And even though he was getting good results, there was a big dropout rate that he wanted to understand why that was happening. He identified a link between a person experiencing adversities in childhood and their physical and emotional health, life choices and behaviours into adulthood. The 10 adverse childhood experiences that were identified in that study are these here. They're quite well known within our systems. But in a commitment to collaboration and co-production, the project met with around about 150 workforce members across different sectors, about 100 adults within our community and around about 100 young people, to understand what adversities people and our children and our families are experiencing currently. Together with our community, we identified these additional adversities that people are experiencing within their own household, and we also identified these ones that people are experiencing within their own environment currently. All of this information can be found on the Growing Stronger website if this is whizzing through too quickly and you want to have a closer look. I think these generally are probably well known within people who work with children and young people, but there were a few, like the lack of trust in authority, the devices, political media commentary, that were a surprise to me when I was kind of uncovered this with our communities. And I think it's something for us as a workforce to understand and experience, that we need to help people develop that trust before really we can move on and do anything else. Information around the prevalence of ACEs isn't the most up-to-date currently. The most recent study that we have for the UK was done in Scotland in 2019, and that indicated that people who've experienced one ACE is around 71%, 4 or more is 15%. But if we look at the information provided in the last two slides around the adversities that people are experiencing in Liverpool, that's probably higher, but we don't have any recent data around that. Why do they matter? So what is the impact of experiencing these ACEs? So when we experience these ACEs, it does have an impact upon our whole systems. I like this quote here from Gabor Mate that just indicates that when we experience ACEs, it has a significant impact on our body. What we see is that people who've experienced it 4 or more ACEs are more likely to have some long-term health conditions into adulthood and some kind of negative health harming behaviours. And it also has quite a significant impact upon our health systems. If you've got 4 or more ACEs, you're a lot more likely to visit the GP in the hospital regularly. So what we developed following on from the consultations and the collaboration was an ACE response framework. So we wanted to understand what people felt would be helpful and how we could frame that in a way that was helpful to workforces and organisations. We had an ACE conference last summer and held some consultations with the workforce about what people are currently doing to respond to ACEs within the people that they work with, and what they thought would be helpful alongside what families, what adults and young people wanted. And we've developed this ACE response framework. So the ones in blue, bring your whole self, use the language of empathy and compassion, work with the system in a systemic way, looking at the intersectionality, and adopt a trauma-informed approach, and actively find and build on positives, are the elements of the workforce framework that we've built our Growing Stronger training around. And then the ones in green are the public facing elements that we're going to consider for a public facing campaign. And we've got an adult course around ACEs that was in development at the minute. I guess my question for the group here today is, if the Growing Stronger ACE response framework was adapted in your organisation, how could this support the workforce and the children and young people that you work with? I think what it allows us to do is to put some meat on the bones, essentially, of how we adapt our practice when we're working with people who have experienced ACEs or experienced trauma. It allows us to flexibly develop our practice and look at the intersectionality between some of the concerns, experiences and adversities that our children and young people will be facing. So if we were to consider, if we adopted this into our policies and procedures, how would this support our children and young people, and how would we know? And finally, we have some training available around the ACE response framework, and a lot more information from some of the things that I've spoken about, and a little bit more on the Growing Stronger website, which I've linked there for you. Thank you for your attention and for giving the Growing Stronger ACE work your consideration today.